Welcome in, along with Neil Hornsby. I'm Cole Brown, talking about our secret superstars of Week 2 in the NFL. But first, don't forget, if you want to find your own secret superstars, head over to ProFootballFocus.com. Check out our new feature, Premium Stats 2.0. You will not be disappointed. But Neil, remind the viewers how you qualify for this list.
Yeah, Cole, it's simple. All we want to do is highlight some under-the-radar guys that you should be looking at because they may come out to surprise you by the end of the season.
Well, let's get started. Our first guy on the list, cornerback Byron Jones for the Dallas Cowboys. Graded out as an 83.9 in Week 2, which is fantastic. Tell us why he's on the list.
Yeah, you may be asking how a first-round cornerback ends up on a secret superstar list, but Byron Jones has gone a little bit under the radar for the last few years. He started off, and he's played virtually every position in the secondary now. Started off as a free safety in his rookie year. He did play 3 games at boundary corner, but that was it up until this year. He then, second year free safety. Third year became more of a hybrid, strong safety type, box player type slot cornerback. And then this year, he's played exclusively at right cornerback. And so far, Cole, the results have been terrific.
Now, if he keeps his play up, he could definitely help turn this Dallas Cowboys secondary into a top secondary league with Jeff Heath, Chidobe Awuzie, Kayvon Frazier. So hopefully they can keep that up, and the Dallas Cowboys will definitely reap the benefit of that. Moving on to our next guy, receiver who's coming on to his own in year 2 for the Detroit Lions, Kenny Golladay.
Yeah, Kenny Golladay, I remember very, very well, first preseason game against the Indianapolis Colts at Indianapolis, and he made 3 outstanding catches, a couple of touchdowns in there, and I'm thinking, this is the real deal. This guy's the real deal. And then the season happened, and unfortunately underwhelmed a little bit. It was a little bit of a disappointing year overall. Dropped a few catches, didn't get as many snaps as you would like, and probably you got the impression that he wasn't being trusted by the offense as much as they would like to. There was one good piece of information out of all of this that came out last year, though. We have a stat called yards per route run, and what we find is it's a very indicative stat as we move forward, and look at players with limited sample size of snaps. He was 1.66, which is a really good number, and it was 35th in the NFL. So 35th out of 100 and so many wide receivers. 35th out of 112, 13 wide receivers is a pretty creditable performance, and that always gives me hope. And so far this year, the hope's been justified. He's had 2 really quite good games, and he's moved up in our overall grading from 65th overall last year to 15th.
Absolutely, and if he continues his play, that receiving core of him, Golden Tate, and Marvin Jones could be absolutely amazing. Moving on to our next guy, former Tennessee Titan, Buffalo Bill, and now Washington Redskin, inside linebacker, Zach Brown.
Yeah, Zach Brown's an interesting guy because he's been one of those people that you just look at and you always think he's going to be better than the actual production that you get on the field. He's got the size, and most particularly he's got the speed to, excel really in every facet of play. He's got the speed to blitz, he's got the speed to cover, he's got the size to stop the run, and he just hasn't really so far been able to put all of those things together. Here's what he's been so far. He's been a fairly decent coverage linebacker, but his run defense has not been good. Then last year, his run defense improved significantly, and all of a sudden, his coverage is, well, to call it poor would probably be an understatement. Yeah. I mean, 5 touchdowns he was personally responsible for last year. So what you're waiting for is for him to put it all together at the same time, and this year so far, he's really done that. So he's 4th overall in run defense grade, 4th overall in coverage grade, and maybe not surprisingly, 4th overall in our linebacker rankings. So that's a significant step forward. It's only 2 games, we're going to say that the whole way through, but a huge improvement from Zach Brown, and probably now coming much more into line with our expectations of his physical ability.
Absolutely, a great start to the season for the journeyman linebacker, Zach Brown. Our next guy on the list has not played too many snaps over the past 2 games, but he's excelled in run blocking and has caught everything his way. Luke Stalker, the blocker for the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Luke Stocker, the blocker. When he came into the league, and he's one of those players that I had to just check. I was surprised he was still in the league. He came in so long ago with Tampa Bay. And the reason he's hung around as long as he has is because he's turned himself into a fairly decent number 2 tight end, number 3 tight end, a good blocking number 2. That's the reason he's hung around. He hasn't really got many opportunities as a receiving tight end. But here's the deal. Delaney Walker, broken ankle, one of my favourite players, huge loss for the Tennessee Titans. He's now out for the year. Jonnu Smith is elevated to the number 1 tight end from number 2, and Luke moves up to number 2. Receiving, well, so far he's done pretty well. He's only had 4 balls thrown his way, but he's caught them all, and he's done a super job. So it's a little bit of a punt as to whether he's going to be able to continue that, but let's just bank on Luke Stocker for the time being.
So far, it looks like a great acquisition by General Manager John Robinson. Our last guy on the list, Lawrence Guy, defensive interior for the New England Patriots, has never really graded out too well because of his lack of pass rushing, but this year he's coming onto his own.
Yeah, he's always been known as a run defender, and actually he's always stood out a little bit to me. He's always been a decent special teams player. He's always managed to find ways to stay in a club. People have always found a use for him. He's never played less than 208 snaps on defense in the whole time he's been in the league since 2012. And he's got a reputation as a good, not great run defender. What's he done this year? Well, he's upped that to another level. How much? Well, he's number 1 in run stop percentage, ahead of guys like Grady Jarrett, Akeem Hicks, Aaron Donald. Number 1. That's number 1 in anything is pretty good, but number 1 stopping the run in run stop percentage is an excellent place to be.
And real quick, tell our viewers what run stop percentage means.
Okay, so stops. Anybody can make a tackle. Well, not anybody can make a tackle, but tackles are either useful sometimes or not particularly useful. Making a tackle for 4 yards on 2nd and 3 isn't particularly helpful. Yeah. Making a tackle for 2 yards on 3rd and 3 is very helpful. So when we consider, that's what we consider, that latter example is what we consider a defeat for the offense, and that's a stop. So it's a tackle which is a defeat for the offense. And in that category, he's made 7. That's number 1 in the NFL in percentage terms of the number of snaps he's been on the field.
Well, that's obviously a great sign right there for Lawrence Guy for the Patriots. Well, there you have it. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe to our channel for future videos. And don't forget, if you want to find your own secret superstars, head over to ProFootballFocus.com. Check out Premium Stats 2.0. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. We'll see you next week for our Week 3 Secret Superstars in the NFL.